I'm Chipo. I'm a digital artist from Zimbabwe. I live in Margate. And I'm a founder of a platform called Global Digital Futures. It's about technology and the impact of technology and technology narratives, primarily in the global south. And it's just about critically analyzing and imagining alternative futures as well, expanding narratives and audiences in tech and about tech, and diversifying cultural information. These are some of our awards and things we've had this year. And some of those awards were for this VR project, Futuristic Pagan, which was created at the Design Futures Lab in Cape Town, South Africa. And now it's been exhibited quite widely, won a couple of awards. And it's just an example of showing what I'm interested in terms of my immersive technology work. It's a VR piece, virtual reality, taking the user around a traditional Zimbabwean homestead and exploring and learning about different ways that we connect with the ancestors through nature, through architecture, through dress. It's meant to start automatically, I'm not sure. So this is another virtual reality project. It's set in the Chipo caves in Zimbabwe. It's a sacred space. Again, it's a narrative around traditional spirituality, traditional Zimbabwean practices, and actually going into different traditional groups in Zimbabwe. I'm learning as well because those groups are not mainstream, the Kore Kore, for example. So just really getting into Zimbabwean histories and traditions as a entertainment, education, but also I see it as an aspect of archiving, digitally archiving this knowledge. So in terms of AI and this residency, so actually I'll go back to this. So this character that you see in black, that's a Mondoro, a traditional healer in Zimbabwean culture. So my first interest in AI was to create a character that a user can interact with, talking to it and having conversations about traditional spirituality. And one of the mentors that I work with in Zimbabwe, Mr. Chikonzere Chazunguza, he's the teacher of some of the most famous and successful contemporary Zimbabwean artists, as well as running a traditional culture center in Zimbabwe. And he was saying what AI looks like to him, it looks like it's mimicking the experience or the concept of a dare. A dare is when we have a ritualistic ceremony and connect with the ancestors, and the Mondoro gets the information and translates that in the material world, in the physical world. So it's that idea of tapping into infinite knowledge, right? That's like what we might ask Google search or ChatGPT, for example, and that's how he saw it. So apart from creating a playable character that someone can communicate with, it did spark my interest in terms of how AI is imagined, how AI is perceived, because how we perceive it here in this room in Cambridge is totally different to how it's perceived in downtown Harare or in Matobo in the south of Zimbabwe. So some of the things that I'm interested in now are learning about AI, this residency being an amazing platform for exposing and having these different conversations. We were reading a book called The Technology Singularity, and he said one of the key ways forward in this tech development that we're currently in is raising awareness amongst the public, the creators, policymakers, technologists, so that everybody can be involved in the development of how AI is going to develop, because it's not fixed. We're still kind of at the beginning, and it can be shaped in so many ways, and there's so many diverse ways if we look at it globally as well, which is an amazing and interesting thing. And also when I was thinking about developing this character, this conversational AI in my VR, you need data to inform, that experience. A person, the user could ask a question, and some data has to be extracted to communicate those ideas. And there is a lack of authentic African data in AI. If you search certain things on Google search, even like images, there's just a lack of that data, a lack of that information. So it's redressing that lack of data and getting authentic information into these data models. So I'm quite interested in that. And then also, once we have that data, or we have people engage, local people from back home, how do we use this data, how do we use this technology to develop AI in a way that is positively impactful for local issues? How do we come up with local solutions and involve the people who have those issues and say, oh, I need this, and how do we work together collaboratively through international collaboration even to create local solutions with employment, education, historical archiving, industrialization. So some of the ways that I'm starting to realize some of these ambitions or goals. In August, I joined the SOAS Center of AI Futures for their AI Imaginaries project. The first project that we're going to do is analyzing generative AI, so putting in certain prompts, the same prompt every week, I'm doing it about Zimbabwe, but SOAS is focused on different African, Asian, South American studies. So I'm focusing on Zimbabwe and looking at what the generative AI brings back in terms of imagery about Zimbabwe. So that will go for 3 months, and then we'll see what we'll do with that data that we gather. And then this week, actually, on Wednesday, launching the Reimagining AI series. So actually Global Digital Futures started with a podcast called Global Digital Futures when I was studying my master's at SOAS. And I was studying global media and communications, and I was really interested in getting other students and people at SOAS into technology, and also understanding that technology was going to impact what they were studying, whether that was journalism, ethnomusicology, politics, because SOAS is not a techie place, or it wasn't, but that was 2018. So I'm quite comfortable in podcasting. I love that as a medium. So this series, it will be Instagram lives that then will turn into podcasts, we'll put on YouTube, etc., just to increase accessibility. Talking to educators, artists. Actually had an idea to get you guys on it. We'll talk about that. Just a range of diverse practitioners and experts who are doing some work in AI, and especially also thinking about the global south, just really making that conversation truly global, This is an example of a session that we'll have in a couple of weeks with Dr. Jacqueline Kiwa and Martin Muluba, who are academics in Zimbabwe. And then also in January, I am looking to launch AI workshop series in Zimbabwe. Just attending some conferences recently. I was really interested by one presentation that was about taking AI into schools here in the UK and coming up with workshops that were not on the computer and didn't need internet connection. That's amazing, because those two things are barriers to access in Zimbabwe, right? And it was using crafts like paper mache, painting, drawing, silly putty, those kind of things, to envision what AI looks like, or what they think it is, or how they imagine it. And I think that's really interesting, because it's a really creative way to think about it, and it's a way to also bring different types of people into that space without needing to feel like they need to be tech literate or something like that. So we'll be doing those series with the National Gallery of Zimbabwe in Harare, in Bulawayo, and in Mutare. They've got 3 galleries there. Great spaces because they're all in the city centre, and those cities, cheap to get in. These will be free, but yeah, just accessible. So those are some of the projects coming up and some of the things I'm interested in.